Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the High Noon Report with me, Pugs Moran, for Wednesday? That's right, it's a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday afternoon. Here's what we do here. We like to go through all the day's hot topics, current events, trends, whatever it is people are buzzing about. We're going to give it to you here. Typically, it's about 2 hours. Today, I'm sorry to report, we've got a shorter than normal show. I'm going to be out of here by 1:30, okay? I'm sorry. But here's the good news on that. We are going to have a Radio Misfit show tonight. That's right. So myself and James Parker at 9 p.m. tonight, we will be doing a full Radio Misfit show. So here's how this show works if you're unfamiliar, and you might be. My voice is a little bit, I was at a bar last night, and is this really what's happening now with my voice now when I go to a bar? Because I haven't been to a bar in so long. Now it's Anyway. Here's what happens on this show. We go through all the day's events, the headlines, the hot topics, the current events, whatever it is people are screaming about on television, whatever it is that's making the splash on the front pages from coast to coast. We'll tell you about it. We're not going to tell you all about it, but I'm going to give you what I call cocktail party knowledge. That means I'm going to say, here's what's trending. Here's basically what this means. Here's what I think. We move on. And that's it. And the goal of the show is that hopefully at the end of a nice little today 90-minute run, you're going to feel like, okay, I pretty much know everything. You're not going to know everything, but here's what we're trying to avoid. At no point in your day do I want somebody coming up to you going, hey, did you hear about? And then you got to sit and listen to this guy. Oh my God. And it's his filter and it's his agenda that is influencing the way this, so you don't need that. You need that from me. So that's what I do here every Monday through Friday from noon till whenever we like to say. It's typically about 2 o'clock. Today, once again, it'll be 1:30. What else do we do here? What else? We do it in a couple of stages. We give you all the events of today. I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you the headlines and all that stuff. We do all that. But first, we do a little segment we call Erstwhile on this day. We take a look at previous editions of this day. Basically, it's the old, hey, this day in history. It's just a different name. But we go through some of the events that I think have shaped this day, or at least our perceptions of what this day is. Then we go into birthdays. We talk about celebrities who were born on this day. Not all of them, just the ones that I think that I can rant on for about 10 seconds. Then we go into the deaths. This is my favorite part. People who have died on this day, we look at them, we weigh their entire contribution to humanity, and then we decide heaven or hell. Yeah. Are these dead people in heaven or hell? Where do you think? That's the game. So that's it. That's the first quarter, the second quarter, and the third quarter. Erstwhile on this day, birthdays, and heaven or hell. Then we get into the hot topics. Then we get into all the things that are making today a memorable day. How are you, folks? How you doing? I'm going to get a little drink here. I'm going to get my drink on, as the kids say. My voice is jacked. Ugh. So what, I can't go to bars now? Is this a thing? Is this another thing about getting old now? I can't go to bars because of this the next day? Or maybe it's just because I'm out of practice. So big, hearty, super duper thank you to all of the people who came out last night for our Dean Lewis. We graduated from Dean Lewis Comedy School, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. I am a graduate of the Dean Lewis School of Comedy there at the Addison Improv. Dean Lewis hosts these. Dean Lewis is a regional treasure. I'll put it that way. He's beloved from Lubbock to Huntsville. I don't know, what would be the other thing? Lubbock wouldn't even. He's beloved from El Paso to, I don't know, somewhere, whatever. You know what I mean? He's a regional treasure, and he does this stand-up comedy course at the Improv. Now, first of all, it's the Improv. So that's this isn't a stand-up comedy course, being thrown at, Ned and Edna's Chuckle Hut. Right out there in Burleson. No, this is the Improv in Addison. So there's some cachet to it. And then when you add Dean Lewis, there's real cachet to it. So it's okay, this is legit. So I was honored to be able to take his course these past 7-8 weeks, something like that. There was a break in there somewhere. And I recommend it highly to everybody. Here's why. So, I don't know that I am going to be a stand-up comedian. It's a little late in the game for me. I do know this. I enjoyed what I did last night. I had a good time. I know this, and this is a lifelong thing. I enjoy writing. I enjoy writing bits, and I just don't know that I'm the kind of person at this stage in my life that wants to get up on stage and do it. I'm going to start hitting open mics just for fun, because you know why? Because I need to get out of the house because I just need something to do. And I don't bowl. You know, I don't want to just hang out in a bar, although that would be my second choice. My second choice would be just hang out in a bar and like hold court with a bunch of locals and regulars, make new friends, create that. But I don't really see that going anywhere. So what I'm thinking is my new hobby is I'm just going to go up on stage to open mic nights and stuff like that. And I have Dean Lewis to thank for that. James Parker performed last night. He's got video of it. I did not take video of it. I didn't want video of it. I don't need video of it. We live in the moment, baby. Enjoy it. The people who came out last night saw my set. They're the only people who are ever going to see that set. And that's the way I like it. I'm old school. At least in the beginning. I mean, if this turns into something that I end up doing more often, and at this point, I don't really know. But if it does, then yeah, certainly there'll be video because that's just the nature of the beast. You gotta play the game. But at this point, nah. Right. I mean, I'm going to be doing some things around. If people want to come see me, they come see me. I'm certainly not at the level that I want it locked in for perpetuity. Right. Whatever. Come out. You want to see me while I'm deciding whether or not I'm even remotely capable of doing that, please do. But again, there are no shows. Like I'm not ready for any shows. That's the other, you going to do shows now? No, I'm not going to do shows now. I have too much respect for the people. So we did our show last night at the Improv, and I want to thank again, April. Where's April? By the way, April is the executive producer of today's show, and I'm a little bit angry at her, although I can't be angry at her because she did tip the show, and I appreciate that. She always does. What happened to April? April, I think I lost April. April, well, thank you. April's complimenting me in the chat room. I appreciate that. But I lost April. Like, okay, so here's what you guys need to understand. This was very serious. Like, we were given like the most unfunny backstage at the Improv lecture and speech about how these shows run. And for tonight, you're all being treated and you all must comport yourself here at the Improv like professional stand-up comedians. And here are the effing rules. And they went through these rules and they were so serious. So the rules were that nobody who is on stage is to be mixing with the crowd before the show, which was difficult for a lot of us in this comedy class, but I understand it. It was difficult for us because we've invited a lot of people to come. And in my case, it was a lot of people I hadn't seen in a while. So it's like, man, they came out here on a Tuesday night in a driving rainstorm, no less. It was pouring. They came out on a Tuesday night. They sat through our garbage. I mean, I was garbage. Everybody else was great. You know what I'm saying? Being self-deferential. And then we weren't able to sit and hang out with them. And April, who I only saw very early on in the whole thing, and when the show was over, then we were able to all come. I sort of wrangled. I just hit the camera. I just sort of wrangled everybody, and I couldn't find April. I guess she had to go. I'm sorry, April. I wanted to spend a little time. Just want to spend a little time, and we didn't get to. I also lost Jen. I don't know if Jen's in the chat room this morning. Jen came out with us. Jen, who is a longtime friend of James Parker's and now a good friend of mine. Jen was supposed to meet. We went from the Improv to this little quiet little bar. There was only a group of about, maybe 10 of us or so. We were going to have a drink. We were going to talk. We were going to have a couple laughs. And we lost a whole bunch of people in the process. And Jen was one of the people that we lost. And I didn't have Jen's number, right? Jen and I are Facebook friends. So we were communicating via Facebook. And she disappeared. So I'm standing out in front of this bar in the rain, trying to make sure that everybody that I invited got there, because I don't want to be the heel who's just like, hey, I invited you out and then ditched you. And I didn't have Facebook Messenger on my phone, right? So I had to download that, and then I'm trying to find Jen because I don't know, she didn't know where we were going. She got a flat tire. She got a flat tire in the rain, and her husband was coming to get her. Oh my God. So I do recognize that there were people in attendance last night that really kicked ass, that really went through a lot. And I apologize that we weren't all able to sort of, commiserate and hang out like that. But okay, let's move on. Let's get into thank you to everybody, by the way. Thank you to, well, I'm sure we'll talk more about it on tonight's Radio Misfit show, but let's get into what today's show is all about. Today's show is about today, this very day in history. So welcome to the High Noon Rant. I am Pugs Moran. It is the 20th day of September, year of our Lord, 2023. 263 days have passed in this calendar year. There's only 102 remaining. Whoa, we're going to get to the 100-day countdown this week. How very exciting. All right, let's do our first segment. We like to call this Erstwhile on This Day. It's a look back on all of the events that have helped shape this day. We do it. Why? Well, we do it because we're looking for patterns. We're looking for rhythms. We're looking for things that might give us an edge in predicting what might come in front of us in the next couple hours of this episode of September 20th. On this day in 1519, Ferdinand Magellan set sail for I can't pronounce this. It's some exotic place. Okay, I'm going to try. On this day in 1519, Ferdinand Magellan set sail for Sanlúcar de Barrameda. What's going on with these people back then? Did they just invent the language and so they were getting real fancy with words? Why on earth would you name a place that in 1519? Anyway, he set sail for this place with about 270 men. Basically, it was the start of his expedition that would eventually circumnavigate the globe. So it was on this day that Ferdinand Magellan did that. And what was the story there? So did they still think the world was flat? Or I don't know. I guess I don't know my history. But whatever. I guess it was a big deal if you thought there was a really strong possibility you were just going to sail off the edge of the earth. On this day in 1881, U.S. President Chester A. Arthur is sworn in upon the death of James A. Garfield. The previous day, we talked about that yesterday. Garfield died. Today, Chester A. Arthur took his place. Both of them. Both of them. Oh, my God. Talk about spare presidents. Who are these guys? What did these guys even do? On this day in 1962, James Meredith, an African-American, temporarily barred from entering the University of Mississippi. Holy crap, this dude, James Meredith. Whoo, those iconic photos from Life magazine where he is standing there he's standing on the steps trying to enter the school. And the governor of the state is standing there, looking all racist. Like, nope, black people can't learn. Oh my God. Now, here's what I ask of you. You're a very polarizing figure. I mean, I'm sure your grandparents all hated James. That guy's a rabble rouser. Why can't they just know their place? That was the whole vibe back then. Know their place. Where would that place be? Great grandpa, It's like, where is that place? So you think they ought to just humbly accept being subservient to the likes of you? A middle-class, blue-collar alcoholic. That's who you think they ought to know their place behind. Okay. Anyway. Excuse me. James Meredith, think about what he went through. Because it was settled. He went to school there. Well, what was it like for him? What was it like for him on campus? What was it like, man? And you're trying to learn? Oh, my God. That's quite a guy. That's a young man. That was a young kid. That was a kid going to college. And he went through that. That's pretty remarkable. On this day in 1973, singer Jim Croce, songwriter and musician Maury Muleheisen. All right, Jim Croce, songwriter and musician, along with Maury Muleheisen and 4 others, die when their light aircraft crashes on takeoff at Nacogdoches Regional Airport in Louisiana. Jim Croce. So Jim Croce was a singer-songwriter. I often confuse his works with that of Harry Chapin, but Jim Croce was, by my estimation, the bigger hit machine than Harry Chapin, although I like both, especially when I'm trying to fall asleep at night. And that's a compliment. I don't mean that as a negative. I mean, everybody has a purpose in life, and Harry Chapin's was to put me into this incredibly calm, soothing mood. So thank you for that. He was a singer-songwriter. He had some popularity. He was popular. He wasn't the Beatles. He wasn't that, but he was popular. And then he was on tour. He had a new album coming out, and his plane crashed. And the next day, his new album was released. The day after the plane crashed on takeoff. It hit a bunch of trees. The pilot was half blind. Yeah, it was a half blind pilot. Didn't see the trees. Crashed right into him. That's why you can't be blind to be a pilot. But this guy was. So the day after Jim Croce dies in the plane crash, his new album is released, and that was plane crash wasn't planned, but the album being released on that day was. Instantly shoots to number one because I'm sorry, that's not the story. Let me get the story right, because this is a really interesting story about how he had such success posthumously. So he dies, and he's a mid-level successful artist at this point, not a household name. So he dies in the plane crash. His new album comes out, and it has the single "I Got a Name." Okay, so that became a hit, but it only charted. It went to like number 10 or something like that. Then somebody in his record company went and got a song that he had written years earlier called "Time in a Bottle." You know that song? If I could have time in a bottle. You know that song? They found that song from an album that he did a couple of years earlier. And because it was so in lockstep with him dying young, that song is about a man, and that song shot up to number one. Then they went, oh my God, all of a sudden he's not touring because he's dead, but we, hit with this song that was about dying and he's dead. And now people are like, wow, we'll listen to that. Now they want other things. So then they posthumously released Jim Croce's Greatest Hits, which he hadn't really had a bunch of great hits until that point. The Greatest Hits album exploded. He had like multiple number one songs off that Greatest Hits album, and it all happened posthumously. Started on this day. Singer Jim Croce died in a plane crash in 1973. On this day in 1982, the NFL season went on strike. Oh, I hated this. I was 12 years old, 13 years old. I was right in the middle of my, becoming a football meathead. And all of a sudden you're telling me, how much you wait for the new season? 3 months until the new season. I mean, the only thing that makes waiting for the new NFL season tolerable as a kid is because it's summer, right? So you're doing summer things. Oh boy, on this day in 1982, that's when they locked out the players. I don't remember exactly what it was, but man, it sucked. And then they played the season anyway. Remember, they played with replacement players. They made that Gene Hackman, Keanu Reeves movie, The Replacement Player, or whatever it was. I don't know. I remember my Bears, they were called the Spare Bears. And I don't even remember if they won. I remember Mike Hohensee was the quarterback. I believe Ditko was coaching because Ditko, I don't know. It's just a mess. I hated that. Oh, then in 94, the baseball strike killed me again. Jeez. Why do these leagues strike only when my teams are, good or getting good, or at least interesting to watch? On this day in, on this day in 2001, in an address to a joint session of Congress and the American people, President George Bush declares a war on terror. He declared war on terror, which at the time we all went, yes. But now, looking back through the lens of history, we're like, oh, that was so that he could just attack anybody he wanted at any time. And he got Congress's approval because 9/11 had just happened. And all of a sudden, he's got a blank check to pretty much just go. But we knew. See, the problem is the lens of history tells us we knew who was responsible, and we still haven't gone into Saudi Arabia or Yemen. We haven't. We turned Afghanistan into an ashtray for 20 years, though. Oh, yeah, that's what we did. On this day in 2011, the United States military ends its don't ask, don't tell policy, allowing gay men and women to serve openly for the first time. 2011 on this day. And I will just point this out. We have not won a war since. Okay. That's a little, because it's an obvious joke because we were in the middle of a war then. And okay, my point is this. That's fine. We shouldn't be all bent out of shape about it. All right, let's move into the birthday segment of today's show. This is where we like to play I don't have music rights, so I have to sing. Bonum, bonum, bonum. They claim it's their birthday. All right, let's do some birthdays here. Celebrate people who have made contributions in life. Red Auerbach. Is that how I say it? Auerbach. Red Auerbach. I've heard it pronounced Auerbach. Auerbach. Red Auerbach. One of the great men of the NBA. Although a complete piece of garbage. He was a total piece of garbage. He was not a nice man. Interestingly enough, if you watch the HBO Max series Winning Time, which chronicles the Showtime Lakers of the Jerry Buss, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul era of the 1980s. Their great rival was, of course, the Boston Celtics and Larry Bird, and Red Auerbach is the founder and owner of the Boston Celtics. So he's portrayed by Michael Chiklish from The Shield. So Red Auerbach plays a very big role in that series. You can learn all about it. He's a dirtbag. The movie kind of portrays him as a dick, but that's because the hero of the story is Jerry Buss, and Red Auerbach of the Celtics hates the owner of the Lakers. But anyway, in real life, he actually was kind of a dick. Yeah. Red Auerbach, born on this day in 1917, born on this day in 1929, Ann Mara. Who's Ann Mara, you say? Well, she was a comedian. She was a sketch artist. She was a comedic actress. I don't know if she did stand-up so much, but she did do stuff with her husband. Her husband is, of course, Jerry Stiller, Frank Costanza. He's also in The King of Queens. She's Ben Stiller's mom. That's what I'm trying to get at. Ann Mara is Ben Stiller's mom, born on this day in 1929, passed away in 2015. Oh, I have cotton mouth. Let's see. Who else was born on this day in 1934? Sophia Loren. She's pretty hot. She's still alive? She is. She is still alive. Born on this day in 1948, King of the Dorks, George R.R. Martin. That's right, American novelist, short story writer, Game of Thrones. I call him King of the Dorks, and I think everyone knows I am a major Game of Thrones dork, so he is my king. Born on this day in 1948. Also born on this day in 1948. Okay, here's a little something for me. Born on this day, celebrating a birthday, the Panazzo twins. That's right, the Panazzo twins. Who are the Panazzo twins, you ask? Well, it's Chuck and John Panazzo. Unfortunately, we lost Johnny Panazzo. Oh, boy, God, 30 years ago. Who are the Panazzo brothers? Well, the Panazzo brothers are fraternal twins. No, they're not. No, what is that called when they're not identical? What is that called? Is that fraternal? Yeah, I think that is fraternal. The fraternal. Anyway, they're not identical twins. And here's the cool thing about them. They're the rhythm section for Styx. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, but I love Styx. I love Styx. Oh, man. A Styx greatest hits album at a party. Man, I'm telling you, ain't nobody leaving. Ain't nobody going to be like, this is my favorite song of all time. But people staying because that stuff keeps people staying. Styx is awesome. Look, all I'm saying is I'll die on the hill, and I fought many, and I get it. A lot of people don't like Styx. I do. They're the rhythm section. Now, I have to ask you this. Is there a better combination for a rhythm section for your band than twins? One is the drummer and one is the bass player. The most important thing for a good rhythm section is for the rhythm section to be in rhythm. Is there anybody that is more in rhythm naturally than a couple of twins, than a couple of people? John Panazzo, Chuck Panazzo, both born on this day. The rhythm section for one of my favorite bands, Styx. I'm old, okay? Shut up. Born on this day in 1956. Here's another one of my favorites. So hold on. Wait a second. Sorry. I just, for some reason, felt like I was getting a little hot into the microphone. Hi, Mama Beller. Mama Beller's in the chat room, everybody. Make room for the queen. Gary Cole was born on this day in 1956. Gary Cole. God, do I love Gary Cole. Gary Cole is confusing because when Gary Cole was first introduced to me, he was introduced to me in a late 80s, early 90s NBC television series called The Midnight Caller. It was a good show. It was a really good show, especially for that time period in American television when a lot of the stuff was formulaic and stupid. Midnight Caller was cool. He was a radio late night talk show. It was good. Anyway, that's where we first met him. And it was mysterious and he was brooding. And he was like, he was a handsome guy, right? He's a TV actor, handsome, got the lead in the show. So I'm like, okay, so this guy, maybe he's going to be an actor. He turns out to be one of the great deadpan actors of all time. He's not, who he's like? He's like Bryan Cranston. Like Bryan Cranston is one of the great deadpan actors of all time. He's also one of the great dramatic TV actors of all time. That might be Gary Cole. Gary Cole is so funny. Oh, who is Gary Cole? Okay. Gary Cole was Mike Brady in the Brady Bunch movies. Gary Cole was the manager in the film Office Space. Yeah, we're going to need you to come in on Saturday. Gary Cole turned in about 5 or 6 seasons worth of Emmy-winning performances on the HBO show Veep. Gary Cole, born on this day in 1956. You may not know his name, but you know him. And when you see him, you go, oh, this guy's going to do something funny. He's so deadpan. Born on this day in 1966, one of the great names in the Gen X history of rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday, Nuno Bentoncourt. That's right, Nuno Bentoncourt, guitar player. Extreme. Here's the deal with Nuno Bentoncourt that I always found interesting. He's a wonderfully technically proficient guitar player. If you were a really good guitar player back in 1991, you were like all about Nuno Bentoncourt. But his most famous hit, he doesn't even get to display his like awesome guitar playing. More than words is all you have to do. Remember that Extreme song, More Than Words? It's just an acoustic. He didn't even get to play. He can play, though. He's a good player. And one of the great names in rock and roll. That is just a cool name. Nuno Bentoncourt. Born on this day in 1967. This is interesting because it's also the very same day that Lord gave us the Panazzo twins. A couple more rock and roll twins born on this day. How about 1967? I was going to say different years. No, twins are typically born on the same day, same year. Born on this day in 1967, Gunnar and Matthew Nelson. That's right, Nelson. I don't remember Nelson. Like, what was their hit? I remember Nelson, but I remember, here's a bad sign if you're a musician. I remember the look way more than I remember the band. I remember the song, right? I know they had a song. Okay. Oh, Love and Affection? Something about love and affection. I don't know, there with your love and affection. All right, I don't know. That's what's coming to my mind when I think of Nelson. Anyway, another couple of twins who went into rock and roll. They're, of course, the grandchildren of Ozzy and Harriet Nelson, I guess. Ozzy and Harriet, right? Ricky Nelson, the rock star and TV star, was their dad. So there you go. They are what we call Nepo babies. Although they had their flash in the pan, but that was 40 years ago. I have no idea what Gunnar Nelson or Matthew Nelson are up to these days. Born on this day in 1976, also celebrating a birthday on this very day, we've got great John Bernthal. Yeah, John Bernthal's awesome. He was Shane in The Walking Dead. Remember The Walking Dead when it first came on? Everyone thought that like Andrew Lincoln was the star of the show, and then everybody was like, Shane's more interesting. Shane sort of became Andrew Lincoln still, he's still the star, but it was more like about John Bernthal at that point. John Bernthal, since The Walking Dead, it's gone on to do a lot of really cool things. He was Johnny Boy Soprano in The Many Saints of Newark. What else has he been in? He's in a lot of. Oh man, he's so good in The Bear. Yeah. He plays the dead brother who only appears in flashbacks. I don't know if you watched the Hulu series The Bear. John Bernthal. He's a terrific actor. He really is. Because I look at him and I'm like, oh, look at this big dummy. I thought we had another Tony Danza on our hands. No, turns out this guy can work. This guy can act. Born on this day in 1976, John Bernthal. Born on this day in 1988, Conor McGregor's kryptonite. Probably one of the most devastating ground fighters I've ever seen in the history of the UFC. And I've seen a lot of that. And my list includes names like Royce Gracie and George St. Pierre. But holy crap, this guy could probably take out both of them. Happy birthday, born on this day in 1988, Russian wrestler supreme, Khabib Nurmagomedov. That's right, I say that name. I say that name, why? Because I've got respect for him. I can pronounce his name because I've got respect for that dude. That dude is scary. Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's retired now. Like, unbeaten in MMA. Nobody's ever come close. Conor McGregor's like, oh, Khabib. Just like, how many times did Khabib fight? Hold on, let's see. How many times did Khabib humiliate Conor McGregor? After Conor McGregor's like, I'm gonna kill you, Khabib. I'm better. And Khabib's like, yeah, no, you're not. Boom, over really quick. Isn't that the fight that Conor broke his leg? Remember Conor broke his leg? He's like, I broke my leg. And Khabib's like, ha, you bitch. Hold on, let me see his list of fights. Well, there we go. Okay. Let's see. Most recently, October 6th of 2018, Khabib Nurmagomedov defeated Conor McGregor by submission neck crank in the 4th round. Didn't go all 5. Didn't they fight before? I thought they fought once before. No, I guess not. Yeah, that was it. Anyway, that was the big matchup because remember Conor McGregor, I'm the greatest in the world. And then everybody who knows MMA is like, Khabib's out there. What are you talking about? But Khabib, I don't think he speaks English. So it wasn't like Khabib was able to become a star anywhere else. Conor McGregor did. And he's like, I'm going to kill you, Khabib. And Khabib's just looking at him all scary. Like some kid who grew up watching his classmates be run over by Chechnyan tanks or something. I just like that steely, badass, crazy drunk Irish kid. You don't know what you're getting into. That's how Khabib kind of, and it was Khabib. Anyway, badass, a real badass. There's videos on him on YouTube as a kid. The crazy. You want to know how tough this kid is? There's a video of like a 9-year-old Khabib Nurmagomedov somewhere in the middle of Siberia fighting a bear. And it's real. He's a kid. First of all, a lot of questions. His dad let him fight a bear. I mean, it's an organized thing. You know, it's not like he's in the woods and he got jumped by a bear. No, he's like, but this is the kind of shit this kid did growing up. So, tough guy. Happy birthday, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Also, big birthday being celebrated today, born on this day in 1998. One of my son's favorite Dallas Cowboys, and I'm sure one of yours. Happy birthday, Trayvon Diggs, American football player. Dallas Cowboy, born on this day in 1998. My kid loves Trayvon. My kid's favorite Dallas Cowboys are, in order. Are you ready? Zach Martin, because he's loyal. He's loyal to the offensive line. So Zach Martin, and also Notre Dame and Dallas Cowboys. So Zach Martin checks a lot of boxes for my son. Zach Martin, favorite. Number 2, Micah Parsons. Number 3, Trayvon Diggs. There you go. Those are my son's favorite Dallas Cowboys. And by extension, I suppose mine now, because, look, I got to come clean about Dallas Cowboys, folks. Okay, so here's the truth about me and the Dallas Cowboys. So for 20 years, I've hosted Dallas Cowboy draft parties. I worked for the Dallas Cowboys flagship. I've hosted Dallas Cowboy pregame shows on the radio. I've worked with Brad Sham. I've worked with Preston Pearson. I've worked with Moose. Right? So I'm like, throughout my course here in Dallas, I have had associations with the Dallas Cowboys. And I've always had to pretend like I cared. And I have never cared. I've never cared. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Oh, hey, tough loss last night in the first round of the playoffs for the Cowboys. Hey, that sucks, huh? That's kind of how I had to be. Because you can't just be like, you can't. Well, I had a son. This is how God plays tricks on you. I had a son that turned into the biggest Dallas Cowboy fan on the planet. He is a meatball. And so now I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Now, okay, after 20 years of having to fake it, now I'm actually a fan because for the first time ever, I watch every snap of every game. I used to just like sort of skim through it, half pay attention, be on my laptop. Not the way I watch Bears games, right? Hell, that's not even how I watch Packer games. Like I watch Packer games really close too, but Bear games I watch. Cowboy games, laptop up. Is that a good play? Oh. Okay, good. I was never really invested, but now with a kid, now I'm totally invested. So happy birthday, Trayvon Diggs, and go Cowboys. Let's see. Let's do some deaths. Let's talk about people who've died on this day, and let's decide whether they are in heaven or hell. What do you say? First off the board, dead on this day. We already talked about him. Jim Croce. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. What else? He bad. Leroy Brown, baddest man in the whole damn town. Yeah. All that didn't he do? Wait, see, this is where I start to get confused with Harry Chapin. Like, who did Operator? Was that Harry Chapin? I think that was Harry. Anyway, whatever. We're putting Jim Croce in heaven because. Man, that dude is soothing, right? He's just a real soothing dude. I think we need more soothing dudes. We got way too many super aggressive type A alpha males out there. A couple of Jim Croce's with his big giant goofy mustache and curly hair. He's good. All right. He's in heaven. Dead on this day in 1973, Jim Croce. Dead on this day in 1984, another famous singer-songwriter, award winner, much heralded by some of the biggest names. Bob Dylan loves this guy. He died in 1984. His name was Steve Goodman. He's an American singer, songwriter, and guitarist. He was a folk guy. He was like a really high-end, top-flight, well-respected folk musician. And that's kind of where Dylan and all these guys come. Most famous, what's his most famous song? Well, I know what the one that City of New Orleans. You know that song? I'm born on the city of New Orleans, and I'm going to that was him. That was Steve Goodman. So he died on this day of leukemia in 1984, and he brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. But dude, he also wrote one of the most cringe-inducing songs of all time for me. As a proud Chicago White Sox fan, this dude also wrote the Cubs anthem, Go Cubs Go. Hey, Chicago. Yes, you guessed it. He's going to hell for that. Nope. Sorry, Steve Goodman. You can rot down there. That song sucks. Dead on this day in 2016. Here's we're going to decide on heaven or hell. Okay. Dead on this day of 2016. Film director Curtis Hanson. Film director Curtis Hanson, died on this day in 2016. First of all, let me just say Curtis Hanson is going to heaven. Curtis Hanson is going to heaven because you know that I'm a fetishist when it comes to film directors. I love my film directors. So Curtis Hanson draft. You're damn right. We're going to do a Curtis Hanson draft. He was awesome. Did very few films. In fact, I would only invite, he probably only did 8 films, right? So I got 5 in the draft, but all 5 are worthy films that would be drafted in just about any director's film draft. So let's get started. What we do is we apply the NFL draft system. The first pick overall is the most heralded of all of the film prospects. We go through it 1 through 5, and then we invite some people to free agent summer camp, right? Undrafted free agents. Let's get started. The first pick in the director Curtis Hanson draft, we're going with film that I absolutely love. And it's a little film. And this probably wouldn't be number 1 on anybody else's list, but this movie is so good. I've seen this movie 100 times. It's one of my 5 favorite movies of all time. And you've probably never even heard of Wonder Boys. Wonder Boys, Curtis Hanson, Michael Douglas, Katie Holmes, Robert Downey Jr., who's that woman that they put in movies whenever they want the movie to be nominated for an Oscar that's not named Meryl Streep? Who's the other woman? Who's that other woman? She was in Fargo. She was in 3 Billboards Outside. She was in Wonder Boy. I can't remember her name. I think she's married to one of the Coen brothers. She's really good. Come on, you in the chat room will know. Anyway, Wonder Boys is fantastic, man. Wonder Boys. Jeff says, you're not picking against anyone. Call it what it is you're ranking. Okay. Well, it's my ranking. It's my draft. Wonder Boys. If you haven't seen it, see it. It's just such a great... Tobey Maguire. That's it. I forgot. Tobey Maguire, Michael Douglas, Katie Holmes, Robert Downey Jr., and that woman who's in everything because they put her in stuff to get nominated for awards because she's an award magnet. I forgot her name, but she's a big-time actress. Got like a whole bunch of them. Nobody in the chat room knows who I'm talking about. Don't make me do that. Okay. Is it the delay? Is that it? Fine. Google can do it. Google can do it. Come on, Google. Wonder Boys film. Who is it? I'm telling you, it's going to be where she is. Frances McDormand. Why couldn't I remember the name Frances McDormand? Because it's not a good name. It doesn't roll. Anyway, Wonder Boys. That's number 1 off the board. I love Wonder Boys. It is such a fun, chill movie. It's just such a great story. It's a story of a writer. Michael Douglas is a writer. He's also a college professor. He lives on campus. He refuses to grow up. He's like 60 years old, and he still parties with 20-year-olds. And Robert Downey Jr. is his book editor. And it's just very crazy. It's a crazy story. It's really good. Wonder Boys. Number 2 off the draft, the Curtis Hanson draft, filmography draft. Curtis Hanson died on this day, so we're picking his movies. Number 1 is Wonder Boys. Number 2, L.A. Confidential. Come on, L.A. Confidential is great. Number 3 in the Curtis Hanson draft, 8 Mile. Oh, the Eminem movie. You know, when that movie, honestly, when they said they're making a biopic of Eminem and Eminem's going to star in it, I went, okay, this is just going to be some hack nonsense. And then they said, and Curtis Hansen is directing it. I went, wait, what? Wait, why would Curtis Hanson agree to work with Eminem as his lead actor in this story? Oh, Curtis Hanson has a plan. And he did. He did. 8 Mile's a terrific movie. Number 3 off the board in the Curtis Hanson draft. Number 4 off the board in the Curtis Hanson draft, an early one. These next 2 are going to be early ones because certainly he broke onto the scene with LA Confidential. That's when everybody first noticed him. But number 4 in our Curtis Hanson draft, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Oh, that was a good movie. Remember about the big crazy nanny? Woo, that movie became a bit of a phenomenon, like the summer of 1993 or whenever it came out. Number 5 on the list of Curtis Hanson films, the 5th overall pick. We're going to go with Bad Influence. Bad Influence. What was Bad Influence? Bad Influence was the first movie. This was the first one. This is the first movie where I went, who's the director of this? And I first heard the name Curtis Hanson. Do you remember Rob Lowe when Rob Lowe got run out of Hollywood because he hooked up with some girl that turned out to be underage, and there was a video of it and the video leaked, and then all of a sudden Rob Lowe was like, he couldn't have a career anymore. I mean, seriously, Rob Lowe got canceled hard in like 1989 or 90 or whatever it was. Curtis Hanson was the director who cast Rob Lowe in the movie Bad Influence. And it was such brilliant casting because Rob Lowe was toxic and nobody else would take him. And Curtis Hanson took him and cast Rob Lowe as a bad influence, as a bad guy. Rob Lowe had always, to this point, been a pretty boy. He'd always been like the heroic, good-looking lead. But because of the scandal, he was forced into this role because he didn't have any other choices. And it just so happens that it was a director that was about to emerge as a very important director. And it was a great film. James Spader, Rob Lowe, Bad Influence. It resurrected Rob Lowe's career. Rob Lowe never looked back after that. Rob Lowe went to comedy, went to West Wing. Rob Lowe. There you have it. That is the Curtis Hanson draft. Love Curtis Hanson. Curtis Hanson is absolutely going to have it. All right, folks, we only got 45 minutes left in today's show, so we're going to run down all the events of the day. We're going to get into the, what do we call this? Do we even have a name for this? I don't even know if we do. I'm not even sure. The rundown. We'll do that. That's fine. All right. Big news today. Attorney General Garland is in front of Congress. He's answering them questions. Attorney General Merrick Garland on Wednesday is coming face to face with his most ardent critics as House Republicans prepare to use a routine oversight hearing to interrogate him about what they claim is the weaponization of the Justice Department under President Joe Biden. All right, folks. What's the rule on this show? That's some political nonsense. You want to learn more about that? There are plenty of places today where you can find the right's point of view on this or the left's point of view. That's not what we do here. I don't give a crap about any of this nonsense. Also trending today, apparently the House we're moving on, right? We got to talk about these things because it's the news, but here's what's happening in the House. Kevin McCarthy, we're up against the budget wall again, right? So government shutdown. We just went through this a couple of months ago and they kicked the can down the road. Well, now we're down the road and we're at the can. And unfortunately, there's going to be a government shutdown because Kevin McCarthy, as Speaker of the House, has absolutely no control of his caucus. Kevin McCarthy, as Speaker of the House, made an agreement back in May with the White House to make sure that there wouldn't be a shutdown. And then, because he doesn't control his caucus, they overturned that deal. And now there's no deal. And now he has made no headway with that particular group. So everybody except the Republican Party in Congress is sitting around going, will you people get your shit together? McCarthy's in trouble. The White House, by the way, who in the past during these kinds of situations, not this White House, but historical White House administrations, in the past, they've gotten involved. This White House is going, nope, we're not going to get involved. It's an election year. We're just going to sit here and let everybody see why this isn't getting done. So that's what's going on. It's a huge freaking mess in the House of Representatives, and it's going to be the story of the next couple of days, in the next couple of weeks, as we get closer and closer to this government shutdown. Because mark my words, folks, I promise you, I know that every other time it's been like, kick it down the road, kick it down, last-minute deal. There will not be a last-minute deal this time. There will not be a last-minute deal. There will not be another can kicking. This is a stand in an election year that certain people inside the Republican majority caucus are going to run on. They're going to use this. So it's going to be gridlock. We're all going to suffer because some hillbilly in the Tennessee 4 wants to get reelected. That's what's happening here. Jesus, man, just run our freaking government and fight about the stupid shit in your own time. Okay, moving on. Story I haven't really been covering, but it's been a big story the last couple of days. We're going to mention it here now because there is someone in custody. Tragic situation in Los Angeles over the weekend. An LA County Sheriff's deputy was executed while he sat in his car in front of his sheriff's station. A 29-year-old man was arrested early Monday in the killing of a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy who was shot in the head near the Palmdale police station late Saturday evening. After deputies released information Sunday about a vehicle of interest, in the slaying of Ryan Klinkenbroomer, that was Deputy Ryan Klinkenbroomer was who was killed. Sheriff Robert Luna said community members came forward with information that helped investigate and identify Kevin Cateno Salazar as the suspect. This led deputies to his home on the east side of Palmdale, where he was arrested on Monday. Now, why is this interesting? Because this guy's crazy. This guy walked up to a cop sitting in his car, pulled out a gun, shot him in the head, got in his car, drove away. That's what he did. He's crazy. Now we ask about the gun. Where did he get the gun? Well, he bought the gun. He registered, legally bought the gun. Legally walked into a store, bought the gun, filled out the paperwork, passed the background checks, got in his car. I'm not saying it happened all in the same day, but this is basically how it could have happened. Just got in his car, drove, saw a cop, killed the cop with the legally purchased gun. Hey, look, right? We should have a right to have guns, but, we got some crazy people out there. Here's the problem. They knew he was crazy. This guy had been 5150'd in LA County twice. This guy had been injured. He was a known crazy person who has tried to kill himself a couple of times, been 5150'd a couple of times. He's a crazy person. And he walked into a store and he bought a gun in California. A place where these red flag laws apparently are everywhere, right? Well, they don't work. We need a complete overhaul of the way we look at this situation. Crazy people can still get guns. Can that just be the first thing we solve? I don't want to take your guns. Nobody wants to. Well, that's not true. Shouldn't say that, because I think you and I both know that there's crazy people out there who definitely want your guns. I don't want to take your guns. I want us all to be more responsible with our guns. I want us all to have a common ground where we can go, hey, you know what? Somebody who's been admitted in the last couple of years involuntarily, which means they're, I'm crazy, and then they got to put them in the straitjacket. How is it that someone like that can get a gun? Well, they can't. There are laws. Okay, so obviously the laws don't work. So let's readdress that. Let's make the laws a lot harder. Let's make it so that it's not just this, but let's make it so that it's that. Now, I don't know this and that. I'm not an expert, so I can't give you the specifics. But do you see what I'm saying? We can't, instead of just going, well, there are laws and apparently they don't work, and washing our hands of it, why don't we come back to the table and go, okay, all right, how do we stop crazy fucking idiots from buying guns? Not you, not responsible guy who runs the hardware store. Not you, lady who needs to keep it in her purse because, she never knows she walks through some. Not you people. We're talking about people who have literally been placed in rubber rooms. How do we at least make a system that doesn't allow them to ever get their hands on a gun legally? How do we do that? Can we talk about it? We got a dead sheriff just sitting in his car, probably drinking a cup of coffee, maybe snacking on a donut or something. He was sitting right in front of the police station. This dude rolls up behind, bam, bam, kills him, dead, gone. Young guy, too. Young guy. All right, let's look at Texas schools. Texas schools, we got a problem here because some teacher was suspended from school. Well, here, I'll give you that. I don't want to misrepresent this. Basically, what he did was he dared to read in front of the classroom from the Diary of Anne Frank. Yeah, I read Diary of Anne Frank when I was a kid. I think that's an important story of courage and, how dangerous the world is and how, love and compassion go a lot further than hate and fear. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that a kid might glean from the Anne Frank diary that I'm pretty sure has served generations well since the 1950s? I don't know, when did it come out? Texas teacher fired after assigning illustrated Anne Frank book. So these are, for kids so that they want to read more. They're now turning all these classic books into what look like comic books so the kids read them. So that's what illustrated book means. The graphic novel adaptation released in 2018 is faithful to the original text in the Anne Frank diary. So it's basically the Anne Frank diary just with cool cartoon pictures. A Texas middle school teacher has been fired after assigning an unapproved illustrated version of the Anne Frank diary to her 8th grade reading class. 8th graders. These are 8th graders. These are people who are starting to observe the world, which is probably the problem. You can't tell them to be nice. You can't show them examples of fascist oppression and the brutality of war. You can't. Come on, man. What are we doing here? These are 14-year-olds. These are 13-year-olds. Here is the issue, though. This is, all right. So I just told you the way the story could be presented. And we could all go, wait, why can't they read Anne Frank? Apparently, this dude who didn't read the whole book, or this teacher didn't read the whole book, specifically only read a passage that dealt with Anne Frank discovering the difference between male and female genitalia. So that's weird. That's like, why? Okay. Why did you choose that? Are you just, on purpose trying to rattle some cages here? Because I don't know. Everybody's looking for I don't know if this teacher was being an activist by choosing specifically this. Because, it's in the book and look, she's going to read the whole book. Fine. At some point, they'll get to that passage. But to just single out this passage and be like, hey, I'm going to read to you from Anne Frank. Hey, here's where she talks about seeing a dick for the first time. Why would you do that? That makes no sense. I don't know. So again, you could probably get more extensive coverage on this. I'd suggest WBAP, who is trying to ban pretty much every book that's ever been written. Here's a good story. Not a good story. This is a crazy story, but this is a story that we get to watch some video. Okay. Have you seen the thing about the Birmingham band director, high school band director in Birmingham, Alabama? They were doing a game last week. And so the game ends. And I've seen this. I've not seen this here in Texas, but I have absolutely seen this in the Chicago area, and especially on the South Side. And more for me with basketball games, like high school basketball games. But apparently in Alabama, what happens, the game is over, and then the two opposing bands get into it. So as people are filing out, right, the game is over, as people are leaving the stadium, the high school stadium in Birmingham, Alabama, one band is basically taunting the other band with a song, like, and they go at it, right? And then, and then they stop. And then the other band, you hear a whistle, and then that band answers, and they go back and forth. It's like a dance-off or a rap battle or whatever. It happens with high school bands. I will say that I have noticed this predominantly occurring with African-American schools, like on the South Side of Chicago. It was one of the coolest things about going to midnight basketball games and stuff. It was because the games were great, because you're like, hey, that Kevin Garnett kid's going to be good. It's like you get all that. But then also there was this really cool cultural sort of thing where you saw the role in these schools that were different than my lily white suburban school. You saw the role that like cheerleaders and bands played, and it was really cool. So I'm familiar with this kind of thing, and that's what was happening in Birmingham. The two bands were going at it. The whole stadium was filing. A whole stadium, it was a high school stadium, so a few hundred people. They're all filing out, and the bands are going at it, and the police are trying to clear the stadium. For what reason, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to go home. But the bands were going at it. And you had one band, and then they stopped, and then the other band. And the cops were like, the cops walked up to one band director and said, knock it off. Stop it. We're trying to clear the stadium, and people are standing around watching you two bands go at it. And so that band stopped. Meanwhile, the other band is still cranking. Very high school band kind of stuff. Cops walk over to that band director, and they're like, you need to stop. And that band director was like, I'm in the middle of a song, dude. I ain't stopping. These kids, these kids are into this. And on some level, I'm like, cops, just let the song finish. This would be like you running onto the field during a football game and stopping the game in the middle of a play because you decided the game was. Let the band finish. That was my initial take. We're gonna watch the video. We've got police cam video of this incident and what ends up happening to the the band director gets tasered right in front of his band, right in front of everybody. It seemed a little much, because again, I'm of the opinion, just let the kids finish the band. Let the kids finish the song. The song is almost over. Just let the song finish. You right now, it's your ego. It's the cops. To me, it was the cops' ego that we want the song to be over now. Hold on, let the kids finish. No, we are telling you to end the song now. Hold on, it's almost done. It was ego on the cops. How dare you not? I told you, this is a public safety issue. And it wasn't. It was just the cop wanted them to end, and they said no. And the cop couldn't believe somebody said no, and then it turned into a whole thing. The band director was a bit defiant, and we're going to watch that right here. So here is the police video. This is, what do they call it? Birmingham band director. There we go. This is the raw footage from the police body cam. This was released by the Birmingham Police Department yesterday. And let's give it a watch.
Versus JO football game.
Here we go.
Played on Thursday, September 14th, 2020.
For you. All right, here we go.
The Birmingham Police Department would like to share body-worn camera footage from the incident surrounding the Minor versus JO football game. Played on Thursday, September 14th, 2023. During the incident, BPD officers took Minor High School's band director into custody. He was charged with the following: disorderly conduct, physical harassment, and resisting arrest. Since the incident, Birmingham Police Chief Scott Thurman has met with Mayor Randall Woodfin, City of Birmingham leadership's team, and the superintendents of the Birmingham school system and the Jefferson County school system. At the direction of BPD Chief Scott Thurman, we are releasing this body-worn camera footage to the general public and to our media partners.
All right. So the first 30 seconds of this video, there is no sound for some reason. I don't understand, probably because it's cops talking about what they're doing, but let's see if we can't get to where the sound comes in. All right, I don't know if you can hear, but this is an officer speaking to this person who's involved with the band. This is not the band director in question. This is someone else. And the officer is saying, you need to stop this right now, and you need to come down. And then he keeps saying, I don't need this. Like it's his world, and we're all just living in it, and he doesn't need this, so it's going to stop. That's an asshole, all right? So that's, I think, really all of these issues that... not all of them, but a great deal of these issues are all about attitude, whether it's the attitude of the person who's being detained or the attitude of the officer who's doing the detainment. Man, can we just get our attitudes better? So we're going to see some bad attitudes from everybody. Let's continue. Cop is asking them to stop, and this guy's just kind of going, yeah, sure. I'm not in charge. I don't do it, but yeah, sure. All right, do you see this guy back here? This is the guy who we're talking about. This guy standing there. He's the band director. He's got the band cranking. They're still playing because he's conducting them. This is the guy that we're going to be focused on. This dude does not want to be there. This guy's just trying to walk away. Get out my face. Oh, no. You know what? I'm sorry. This is the band director. This is the guy that's in charge. The other person was the conductor. This is the band director. So this is the guy whose attitude doesn't help the situation. He's already told the cop, get out of my face.
I got my troops coming. They're going to sweep their asses out. Okay?
Cop says, I got my troops coming. They're going to sweep their asses out. So he's going to send jackbooted thugs to sweep out a bunch of high school kids who are band nerds. That's basically what we're hearing from this tough guy cop. So bad attitude.
Stop.
Cut it. We gotta go. The minute's over.
We finna go this way.
Cut it.
What you gonna do?
All right, so basically what's happening here now is the cops are saying, look, you got to go. It's over. You said a minute. It's been a minute. And then this guy, the band director, is saying, get out of my face. Get out of my face. Song's almost over. It's the last song. Song's almost over. And now they're saying no. So now we've got a battle of egos. What should have happened was the cops should have just went, okay, if I push this, this could create a situation that we're trying to avoid. So how about I don't push it and we just let the fucking song end? Jesus, man. It's called common sense. Instead, you got your fucking ego hurt and you turned into a jackbooted thug. Hold on. I don't know what that is.
That's okay. I'm finna cut back to school. Because they cut it.
That's fine. That's cool. Okay. Cool. That's cool.
That's okay. Because I'm finna send them a bill for the overtime.
They got to go. Hey, 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2. Ready, and.
Look at the cheerleaders. Cheerleaders are going for it. How come the cops aren't down here yelling at the cheerleaders? They're going for it. All right, so this goes on. Now they're turning the lights out. It's dark. Here we go. Now, we're going to fast forward a little bit here because we're going to get to the part where it happens. But as you can see, both people have shit attitudes, right? I mean, if this band director had maybe been a little bit less of an a-hole about the whole thing, you know, maybe a little bit nicer, if you will. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, officer. Please just give me a minute. Something like that may have diffused the situation as well. But the band director has a shitty attitude and the cop has a shitty attitude. So what we're going to get here is a shitty result because nobody applied common sense in this situation. Dark.
That's okay. Because in the morning.
Here we go. Okay. So here we go. Now the band has stopped, and now the band director is being arrested. Even though we are now in a moment in time where everything is fine, now everybody can leave. This is what they wanted. All we had to do was wait a couple of minutes. But all right, so now because ego and how dare you not do exactly what I said? Look, and I get that. But again, we're talking about two people in a situation with really bad attitudes. Here's where it happened. They were attempting to arrest him. And there are other people in the school. It's not just like there are other people intervening. There are other people with the school who are saying to the police, what are you doing? So that's what this scrum is.
He grabbed me, G.
Hold up. We can't do that. We have to take it right here. I got you. We have to take it. Get off of me, bro. Hold on, bro. Get off of me. Stop. I know, get it. Get it in jail. Put it in jail. I'm finna tell you. Get off of me, bro.
All right, they can't get his arm to put he's got one hand cufflet on him. The other one they can't get. And so the officer just said, I'm fixing to tase you.
Tell him to stop. Calm down, bro. We got it, man. Move, man. Just get off of me. Get off of me, man. Hit the officer, okay? He's going to jail. He's going to jail. He hit the officer. He got to go to jail. He swung on the officer.
I did not swing a lawsuit, man. Y'all grab me, look.
I don't believe he swung at the officer. I believe he may have pushed the officer away, but not.
No, sir. That's disrespectful to me.
I believe he resisted. All right, see, now this is what's the controversial moment. It doesn't seem like there needed to be a taser introduced at this moment. He was standing. He was. Here you go again. So here you have it. So he's got the taser right here, and he's just standing here, and this cop is looking at him, got the taser in his hand. He hits him right here with one bolt, right? He jumps back because he's tased. And now he's kind of like recovering from that first tase. And then they guarded him. I mean, this guy, after the one tase, he's standing next to his friend. He does not seem like he needs to be dropped at this point, but we'll watch. There's one. All right, see, and there you just heard the pop. So he was just hit with the second pop. This seems to be somebody with the school who's got him. It just seems very unnecessary, given that it's in front of all of these kids, it's in front of the public. This is not, this isn't some wino in front of the 7-Eleven who's harassing women and trying to steal pocketbooks. I mean, this is a band director who's got a bad attitude, and he's probably a bit of an a-hole. Probably doesn't like cops, but whatever. A lot of people don't. You're allowed to not like cops. Man, if we could just all have better attitude. All right, that's good. We don't need to see any more of that. That's the Alabama band director story. That's what's happening in that part of the world. Hey, how about this? If the world ain't ending quick enough for you, I've got some good news or bad news. The world is definitely going to end. We all know this at some point. But will it end in 159 years? Well, some scientists believe that is very possible situation. There is an asteroid that they have been tracking for years and years and years. Apparently they've decided, or they figured through their latest calculations, that this asteroid is going to impact the Earth. It's going to hit us in the year. What year? Hold on. What year? Let's see. I want to get the year. I did the math earlier this morning, and I'm like, it'll probably affect my great-great-grandkids. I don't even know them, so they're fine. What is it? NASA scientists are predicting a chance that an asteroid will strike Earth in the future, potentially affecting an area the size of Texas. Bennu is the near-Earth object that passes by the planet roughly every 6 years, and experts have been watching it since it was first discovered back in September of '99. According to scientists, Bennu has a chance to pass through what they call a gravity keyhole, which would send it on a collision course with Earth in the year, ladies and gentlemen, 2182. Yes. All right. Hold on a second, folks. My phone is blowing up. I have to take a couple of I'm sorry. I know we don't like to do this, but let me see here. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to be right back. Excuse me. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Thanks, folks. Sorry, just had for some reason, my phone started blowing up with stuff. And the people that were blowing my phone up know that I'm doing this at this time. So it was important. And I'm like, okay, obviously and it was important, but it's all fine. I mean, it's not bad. It was just all information. So I do apologize. All right, where were we? We're talking about an asteroid that's going to kill us all. All right, let's not worry about that. Let's move on. What else do we have today? Oh, this is weird. Okay, so here's a story that I've been watching for the last couple of days. It concerns Sergio Brown. He's not a household name, played in the NFL for a number of years. I remember Sergio Brown because Sergio Brown played for Notre Dame, and I remember him as a safety for us. He bounced around the league. He played, I guess he got a Super Bowl. I think he got a Super Bowl ring with the Patriots. He was on the Patriots for a number of years. Anyway, Sergio Brown is retired from football. And he's at the center of a manhunt. Well, let's put it this way. He's missing. They don't know where Sergio Brown is. Nobody can find Sergio Brown. The police are looking for him. The FBI is looking for him. Why? Why is everybody looking for Sergio Brown? Because Sergio Brown's mother was found murdered on Saturday. And it is believed that Sergio Brown, former NFL player, may have had something to do with it. Now, Sergio Brown disappeared. The family, the other brothers and sisters are like, Sergio, man, what's going on? Come on back. Where are you? Hold on. I'll give you the full details on this story. Here we go. All right. Missing ex-NFL player Sergio Brown appears to surface in Mexico with bizarre rant. Ex-NFL player Sergio Brown, who went missing after his mother was found dead in a creek near her Illinois home, appears to have surfaced in Mexico in a bizarre video posted to Instagram, claiming he thought his mom was on vacation and that he had been kidnapped by law enforcement. The former 35-year-old player is believed to no longer be missing as of Tuesday after he was spotted in a bizarre Instagram story shared on his Instagram page. Okay, let's watch this video that this guy made. Now, remember, his mother is dead. His mother was found dead in a creek bed over the weekend. He is missing. I think he's in Mexico. Apparently he got out and went to Mexico, which, not suspicious at all for a guy who's. So this is him. He made a video explaining that he's not missing and that his mother and that this is all get him and it's all a lie and fake news. He says that a bunch of times. Here you go. Sergio Brown, missing NFL player with the dead mother, resurfaces here in a weird video on Instagram. Are we showing it? Yeah, we are. Here he goes. You tell me, did he kill his mom?
News. Fake news. Fake news. It has to be the FBI that came into my house on Bob Marley's death day, which was 511 Agent Gas, unwarranted. They kidnapped me twice from home, the Maywood Police Department, right? Chris Football did it twice. Aaron Peppers was there the second time that it happened. It had to be the FBI or the Maywood Police. I thought my mama was on vacation in Sinaloa. That's fake news. Get the f out my goddamn face. She retired. If you want to come to me, the Maywood Police got to give me money. FBI had to do it. They got the power to do something like that.
Yeah.
What the f is going on? That's fake news.
Yeah, what's going on?
Don't
fake
come
news.
with me.
All right.
News.
So basically what he's saying there is that I didn't kill my mom. I thought my mom was on vacation. She retired. I think the FBI killed my mom because that's what they do. Fake news, the FBI. And then he started naming people with weird names. Chris Football, Johnny Pepper. I mean, those were people within the Maywood Police Department that he was naming who he was accusing of possibly being complicit in whatever is going on with his mother. That dude killed his mom. That dude killed his mother. And now he's on the run in Mexico. Oh. Sergio Brown, developing ... as they say. Don Jr. is trending. That's right. Don Jr. is trending because somebody hacked his Twitter account and put out that his dad was dead. So that's a thing that happened. So if you hear about somebody hacked Don Jr.'s Twitter. Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey is trending. Here's the only reason I'm mentioning this. A couple of months ago, there was a big hubbub made because Lana Del Rey was photographed working in a Waffle House in Alabama. Remember? And everybody was like, wait a second, she has sold like 15 million records. Why is she working at a Waffle House? What is going on here? Is she really working in a Waffle? So that was a big story for a couple of days. Lana Del Rey working in a Waffle House in Birmingham, Alabama. And then the story went away because we're all idiots with the attention span of a gnat. Nobody followed up. It was just, Lana Del Rey works at a Waffle House. Now, there's probably some idiot today walking around going, Lana Del Rey works part-time. No, she did it once. They're explaining. It's now being explained. This is why she's explaining what was going on there. Here's what's going on there. She has family in the area. It was the summer. She was taking a couple of weeks in the summer and she was visiting family. She was staying at their house. She was also working on some songs while she was in town, right? So she's just working on some things. Her and her other musicians who she, got together with down there in this little Birmingham town where she has family, they would hang out at the Waffle House. Why? Because there's nowhere else to hang out. There is literally nowhere else in the town to hang out. So Lana Del Rey, over the course of a couple of weeks this summer, was hanging out at the Waffle House. Now, over the course of time, the people in the Waffle House, somehow they realized this is a world-famous performing artist who has been hanging out here every day for 5 hours for the last 2 weeks. Hanging out, drinking coffee, talking with these other musicians, whatever. At some point, she became friendly with the waitress. And the waitress turned out was a fan. And so the waitress brought her over a shirt and said, you know what? You should have an official Waffle House shirt. Lana Del Rey put the shirt on while she's sitting there hanging out, writing songs. She put the shirt on. And then the waitress said, you know what would be funny? That's Cletus. He just walked in. Cletus gets the same thing every day. Why don't you serve him? Here's all you got to do. You got to bring him a black coffee with 2 ice cubes in it. That's all Cletus wants. And so she did that. She went, oh, yeah, that'll be funny. I'll just go serve Cletus his coffee the way he wants it in my new Waffle House shirt. So she serves Cletus the coffee. Someone takes a picture. It goes on Instagram, and the whole world believes Lana Del Rey is working at a Waffle House. That's the story. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. No, she's not being ironically cool. She's not attempting to get in lockstep with the working man. She's not doing anything like that. This was just a goof. It happened. It was a one-off. So there you have it, Lana Del Rey. And by the way, I think Lana Del Rey is cool now. I didn't really have an opinion of her. I thought she was kind of weird. But now I think she's kind of cool because I just read this article of her explaining it. And I'm like, yeah, she seems like a cool chick. She's just hanging out. She became friends with the waitress. The waitress is like, let's screw with Cletus. I mean, it wasn't like, let's have Cletus be waited on by a rock star because Cletus doesn't know who Lana Del Rey is. I think it was just, let's have Cletus think you're a new girl. Also trending today, Bijou Phillips. Bijou Phillips is trending. Who is Bijou Phillips? Bijou Phillips, this is like early 2000s, late 90s. She was kind of famous back then. She was a young party girl. She is the daughter of John Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas. She is the half-sister of Mackenzie Phillips from One Day at a Time. She is the full-blown sister of China Phillips from Wilson Phillips. I think she might be full-blown Wilson Phillips' sister. Anyway, Bijou Phillips was a party girl. She was a drug addict. She kind of took the Drew Barrymore path. She was like in and out of rehab 5 times by the time she's like 4. I don't know. That would be rough. 4. So Bijou Phillips went on to marry Danny Masterson, who we all know is now looking at 30 years in prison. Not looking at, he's been sentenced to 30 years in prison for the rape of a number of women over the past couple of years. Bijou Phillips is his wife. Bijou Phillips was in court with him every day when Danny Masterson was sentenced. Bijou's publicity department or whatever, they issued a statement. Bijou is devastated by this. Her love for Danny is great. They will stay together. She will stand by him, blah, 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 all of this stuff. It was all very beautiful. Bijou Phillips believes in her husband's innocent, and this miscarriage of justice will not be undone. Her love will stand the test of time. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, Bijou Phillips filed for divorce yesterday. So, that whole thing lasted a good week before she went, yeah, okay, I'm out. Let's get out on this. And why not? She's still young. She's got young kids. She's got money. She's got Mamas and the Papas and John Phillips. She's got Kokomo money. Her dad wrote Aruba, Jamaica. That's going to be worth, I don't know, $75,000 a year? Something. You could live on that. She's fine, is my point. Here's the story. Okay, it's over. Danny Masterson's wife, Bijou Phillips, files for divorce after actor was sentenced for 30 years to life for rape. Her decision to leave her husband comes after he was sentenced to 30 years for rape. Let's see. We'll give you a look at this. We'll let you see her. She's a little cutie. I mean, you know, she's a cute lady. Oh, she's a model, right? So there you go. That's a nice picture of the two of them. In happier times, as they say. There you go. So this is who we're talking about. This is beautiful young Bijou Phillips, and with her rapist husband there on the left. It says here, Bijou's lawyer, Peter A. Lozon, told the news outlet, Mrs. Phillips, not Mrs. Masterson, Mrs. Phillips has decided to file for divorce from her husband during this unfortunate time. Her priority remains with her daughter. This period has been unimaginably hard on the marriage and the family. Mr. Masterson was always present for Miss Phillips during her most difficult times of her life. Miss Phillips acknowledges that Mr. Masterson is a wonderful father to their daughter. Danny and Bijou's daughter, named Fiona, is 9 years old. Let's see, what does it say? I want to get her statement. Hold on, let me find her statement. Bijou was born on April 1st, 1980 in Greenwich, Connecticut. She's the daughter of the late John Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas and model Genevieve Waite. She's an actress. She's a model. She started modeling when she was 13 years old, switched to acting in her 20s. She's appeared in films such as Almost Famous, Bully, Hostel, Hostel Part 2, and Choke. Sounds like she's doing all the big ones. Where is her statement? I want to find the statement because it's just so funny that today she filed for divorce, or that yesterday she filed for divorce because she was so just ardently supportive. Anyway, we can't find it. But there they are. She's out. She said she wasn't going to be out. She said she was going to stick with him. And guess what? She's not. I can't blame her. You got to get out of there. What do you mean you're staying with him? You're like young. You could still marry like a rich guy. You could still talk. And you know what? This could be good for Bijou. This could be good for you. Danny was not going anywhere with his career. Even if you got rid of the rape allegations and all that kind of stuff, Danny Masterson was not Ashton Kutcher, okay? Ashton is the one from that show that went on to do things, not Danny. Good opportunity for her. She's born in 1980, so she's 43. She's 43 years old. She still looks good. She's got a young daughter. She's going to marry some dude like in Orange County that has 15 Nissan dealerships. She could marry that guy. That dude's worth $100 million. Good life. This is going to be fine for her. Bijou Phillips is still very attractive. She's going to be fine. She doesn't need to tether herself to her dirtbag husband for 30 years. He ain't getting out. Well, he will get out. He'll probably get out in 15, right? Day on, day off, all that kind of stuff. So let's say he gets out in 15. They got a 9-year-old daughter. Jeez, 24-year-old daughter. Going to have a dad out of. Anyway, there you go. Also today, big news, Deion Sanders, in the world of Deion Sanders. And don't we all live in the world of Deion Sanders? It's his world. We're all just kind of hanging up, taking out space. Warren Sapp, legendary NFL, Hall of Famer. Not 100 sack guy, though. Not 100 sack. Warren Sapp doesn't have 100 sacks. 100 sack club is still a very big club to be in. Warren Sapp, one of the greatest and most dominant interior linemen, rush linemen, down rush linemen of all time. Big, giant. Went broke. Lost everything. Sold his Super Bowl ring. Won a Super Bowl with Tampa back in, I don't know, when I was in my 30s. I don't even know. Back then. Great. Anyway, Warren Sapp has been hired by Deion Sanders. He's going to coach the defensive line up there at Colorado. How exciting for them. Warren Sapp, Deion, by the way, is surrounded up there. His entire staff is all former professional football players. None of them names. The two other coaches that were named as former teammates of Deion, I don't know who they are. I've never heard of them. Warren Sapp, I've heard of. Like Deion Sanders was a superstar, right? Warren Sapp was also a superstar. So now we've got like two superstars. We'll see how that works. All right. Last, we're going to end on this one today. We're going to go out. I told you we got a little bit early show today. We're going to go a little bit later than I thought, but that's okay. Yeah, and it's a good point. 100 sacks for an interior defense rushman. Yeah, that is a bit much. The edge guys are typically who get the 100 sack club. But he was dominant. He's fucking dominant. Wait, I'm pretty sure. Man, now that's interesting. Now I want to look that up. Look at what my guy Adam did. Now Adam's got me. I'm gonna fall into a wiki hole. I'm gonna look at sack leaders. I'm gonna look at where they made their sacks from. Were they coming off the edge? Were they coming up the middle? Were they in the 2, the 1, the 3? What are they? I don't know. How about a list of best colleges? We've got 2 here. They were both released today. This comes out every year. I've got a 14-year-old kid, so I'm all of a sudden really obsessed with colleges, especially here in state. Best colleges in Texas. Let's talk about the best colleges in Texas. These are the rankings for the state of Texas. If you just want to, we got a lot of great colleges here in the state of Texas. Oh, yeah, we do. Let's see here. So here are the top ranked colleges in the state of Texas. Do you have a guess? Chat room, what is it? No, you know what? I can't do this with the delay because you can Google it and it's a news story today. So it'll come up quick. The number one ranked university in the entire state of Texas is Rice University. Rice University in Houston is number one in Texas, number 17 nationally. So that's good. That's good because we're going to do the top 25 because kind of like, like with college sports, we're going to do the top 25. We'll do the top 25 best colleges in all of America. Rice makes that list. They're ranked number 17. Very good. Coming in at number 2 in the state of Texas, will not make our top 25 best colleges in the country list, but does come in at number 2 here in the state, number 32 nationally, the University of Texas at Austin. Austin Hucklebards! I think that's probably where my kid's going to end up going. I mean, we're banking on Notre Dame. We want Notre Dame. Made the list. We're banking on Notre Dame, but it's probably going to be UT. His mom went to UT. He's a UT. I mean, you can't fight it. Look, if a full academic ride to play football at Notre Dame comes, he's got to take that, I think. But if also a full academic ride comes to play at University of Texas, maybe you got to take that too. I don't know. I think you do. Anyway, number 2 in the state of Texas is the University of Texas at Austin. Number 32 nationally, number 2 in the state. Number 3 in the state of Texas, Texas A&M University. Texas A&M is number 3 in the state, number 47 in the United States of America. SMU, I sit proudly on the campus of Southern Methodist University right here, right now, in this very moment. Southern Methodist University is number 4 in the state of Texas and number 89 nationally. Or followed here in the state of Texas by Baylor. Baylor comes in at 5. TCU comes in at 6. Baylor, by the way, is number 93 nationally. And Texas Christian TCU in Fort Worth is 98 nationally. University of Texas at Dallas, UTD comes in and with a nice national ranking. UTD, I don't really think of UTD. Look at this, 115th in the nation. That's really good. Because if you're in the top 200 colleges in the nation, you're probably going to get a job wherever you go because those are good colleges. Coming at University of Houston comes in next. The University of Houston is ranked 133 nationally, and I don't know what are Texas Tech, and that's it for the Texas Tech is ranked 216th nationally, and and 10th. There you go, 10th in the state of Texas. All right, let's go through the list of the actual best universities in America, because this is a good list. We're going to go from 25, okay? We're going to do the rankings just like we do it AP top 25 or whatever. So we'll start with 25, and we'll work our way up to the number 1 ranked college in the United States of America. All right, hold on. So we will start. Hold on, I got to get to. Oh my goodness. Yeah, load more. Come on, load more. Load more. Load more. Come on, I need you to load more, my guy. All right. It's only loading to 20, so we may just, nope, there we go. Okay, we're good. All right, here you go. The countdown, the 25 best universities in America. Here are the ranked ones, right? Number 25, coming in at number 25, Emory University. Emory University, don't know where this is. Students can begin their education at the school's main location in the suburb of Atlanta. All right, there you go. Known as Emory College or at Oxford College, a smaller campus about 40 miles west. All right, Emory University comes in at number 25. Number 24 is Carnegie Mellon University. I think that's in Pittsburgh, right? Then number 20, there's a couple ties, so the numbers are going to be like, wait, you just said 22. Because there's ties, there's numbers that are missing, so now we jump to 22. University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is the 22 ranked college in America. Georgetown University tied at 22 with University of North Carolina. Number 21, University of Michigan at Ann Arbor. University of Michigan at Ann Arbor. Number 20, University of Notre Dame, South Bend, Indiana. Number 18, because there was a couple for 20. Wait, why would there be a couple for? Oh, there's a couple for 18. That's why there's no 19. Okay. Vanderbilt University comes in at number 18. Also tied at number 18. Dartmouth College tied with Vanderbilt at 18. Number 17. Here we go. Great state of Texas. Rice University. Rice University, the highest ranking school in Texas, comes in at number 17. Number 15, best university in America. UCLA, University of California at Los Angeles, comes in at number 15. Number 15, a tie, University of California, Berkeley. Number 12, best university in America, the University of Chicago. Number 12, tied with UC. Well, that's what we call it, University of Chicago. Number 12, tied, Cornell University. I'm rewatching The Office, and they've just introduced where Jim goes to Stanford and he meets Karen and Andy. You know, Ed Helms, Andy from The Office. He's so funny. He went to Cornell. He'll tell you about going to Cornell. Number 12. Is that tied? Is there like three? Is that three? Are there three tied? So University of Chicago, Cornell, and Columbia are all tied at number 12. Number 12. Number 9. So I guess now we jump to number 9. Here we go. We're inside the top 10. Top 10 colleges in the United States of America. Number 9, Northwestern University, Chicago. Technically Evanston. Tied at number 9, Johns Hopkins University, Baltimore, Maryland. Also tied at number 9, Brown University. So Johns Hopkins, Brown, and Northwestern are all tied as the 9th best university in America. We jump to 7, the 7th best university in America, Duke University in Durham, North Carolina. Tied at number 7. Here we go, another tie. Caltech. Caltech is tied with Duke at number 7, best university in America. Number 6, University of Pennsylvania. Now we're getting into the Ivy League. All right, now we're getting into the Ivy League. So you got UPenn, and then number 5, 5th best university in America, Yale University. Number 3, the 3rd best university in America, Stanford. Of course, Stanford, California. That's a tie. Oh, who's tied with 3? Is it Stanford? Woo, okay. Stanford is tied as the number 3 best university in America with Harvard. Oh, I bet the Harvardies, they don't like that they're not number 1. The number 2 best university in America. Here we go. We're down to the top 2. The number 2 best university in all of America, MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Number 1 best university in America, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, Princeton, New Jersey. Princeton is the number 1 ranked university for an education in America. All right, those are interesting. I like those. Those are all very expensive schools. Maybe UTD isn't. I was ranked in the state stuff. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Kelly and I are going to be doing our practical pick segment tonight. We're going to record that probably around 6:30. Then it's 9 o'clock tonight. We're going to do a Radio Misfits stream with myself and James. We'll talk all about last night. James took video of his performance. So I don't know if he's going to have access to it, but he'll probably show it maybe at some point. I did not take video. As I said earlier, I did. They're like, you should record this. I'm like, I don't want to record it. People were even out. They're like, we'll pay for it. I'm like, it's not about paying for it or not. It's like, I don't want to record it. This is my first time going up on stage. Don't you want to commemorate? No, I really don't. I want to do it. I want to be in the moment. I want anybody who was there to see it. And if it never happens again, then that's special. Then it just happened and there it is. Don't you want to show it to people? No, not really. I mean, I'm in no stage of stand-up proficiency to be showing my stuff to people. That was a graduation from a stand-up comedy class. The expectations were not that I was going to get up there and be great. I mean, I think I did fine. Don't get me wrong. I think I did fine. But I'll probably do it again. I'm looking forward to it. I'll do it again. We'll do stuff, but I got to get better. You got to get better at it, right? It was a very strange thing because I am quite comfortable with this kind of thing. I'm quite comfortable with sitting in front of a microphone, whether it's on the radio and that there's X amount of people listening, or just here streaming like this where I know there's, far less people, but I'm very comfortable. I've gotten this entire body into some form of muscle memory where I can do this. I mean, for 2 hours, I'm basically just streaming, blah, 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 blah. So there's a level of comfort with doing this. Getting up on stage and doing stand-up comedy is a completely different animal. One of the things that distracted me most last night when I was looking into the faces of the people in the audience. It was crazy. It was such a strange. I've been on stage a lot. Like I've stood on stages and introduced bands and said, thanks for coming out. And who wants t-shirt? I've done all of that stuff. I've even hosted and I've done silly little, I wouldn't call it stand-up, but I've done stand-up on stage. And I wouldn't call it stand-up because now I've gone through a course and I recognize what I was doing then wasn't stand-up. But I've done it before, not anything I ever really thought I was good at or wanted to pursue. We'll talk about that. I hope that James does have access to us. James is really good. James has a cheat sheet, though, because James is a musician. So James brought a guitar, and he closed with a song that was really good, a song that we all know. We've played the song before. That's the other thing. I'm like, he didn't write this song for this bit. This song is like 2 years old. I didn't say that. I didn't say that because I'm a good friend and he was terrific and you want to encourage everyone. At least that's the attitude that I take. Not the attitude James takes. James was like trying to get in everybody's head. James was like, everybody's sitting there, everybody's nervous or to some degree dealing with anxiety. James looks at me and he goes, are you even ready? What the hell kind of tone is that in a moment like this? And I could have turned the daggers on him and I could have started going in about his guitar work and about how that's hacky. And I could have done anything. It's not. He's good. He's talented and it works. But to other comedians, who can't play guitar, they're like, well, if I could play guitar, I could write a silly song. That's what it is. I didn't. I just said, well, that's a strange thing to say to someone about to go on stage, James. That's how you end. When somebody says something completely inappropriate or they're trying to get in your head, acknowledge that you know what they're doing and that you are ashamed of them for it. That's how you win that battle. James was great. Everybody was great. We saw these. There were a bunch of like pro comedians who were there. Barry Whitewater is fantastic. Greg Caputo. I got to get Greg's name right. I want to get Greg's name because Greg's a local comic, a regional comic, a touring comic. He's also very funny. He's a very unique way. Except I can't. Anyway, we'll get it. We'll get it right tonight. David Jessup. There was another comic who was David Jessup, who I had never seen before, who apparently is a fairly well-regarded local regional touring guy with some stripes on his career. He was good. His wife was there. His wife was also very funny. Her name was Lindsay something. I don't know. It was a great night. I appreciate you all coming out. We had a wonderful time. And if we do it again, we'll do it again. If we don't do it again, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I did get a challenge though last night. Dr. Schwartz, my buddy, was there. Schwartzy was there. And Schwartzy and I enjoy on occasion just going to open mic nights and just watching, like going and sitting there and just watching open micers. It's fun. It's something that he and I enjoy doing. We live near each other and there's a number of open mic places and we can just go sit in a bar and talk, or we can go and we can watch open micers. Anyway, he used to always say, I could totally do this. I need to do this. So now we're challenged. Now Schwartz and I are going to go to open mics, but we're going to perform. And I'll let you know when that's happening if you want to come and hang out with us, because I see that being a thing in the future. What else? Doing shows. I don't know about doing shows. I wouldn't want to disrespect the audience to that degree by me getting up there and just doing my Dollar Tree bits over and over. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just all the things I talk about here, I just hone them down into like little. You've all heard it before. I love you guys for coming out and helping yesterday. That was fantastic. I appreciate you. All right, we got to get out of here. Yeah, I'm 15 minutes later than I wanted to be. 15 minutes later. All right, got to go. See you tonight at 9 o'clock. And then also tomorrow, the episode 3 of Kelly's Practical Picks with Pugs and Kelly will be released. Hope you enjoy that as well. She didn't do good again this week. It's been a bad first 2 weeks. Ay. All right, got to go. Love you guys. See you tonight. Bye.
Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now, things are going good. I always had to be on guard, that is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.